Welcome to another one of our mentor interviews. And joining us this time is WIBW's Juan Cisneros. Actually, Juan came to our newsroom here. Juan, how you doing, man?
Good, Drew. How are you?
Good. I guess we'll show you. This is just kind of a little behind the scenes. Yeah, there we go. So we're all together here. Okay, so Juan, you've been working for your WIBW and you've been there for how long?
A little over 3 months. I'm on the road to 4 months now.
Okay, so almost 4 months now. Tell me a little bit about kind of how you started in social media. We're going to talk a little bit in this interview about what WIBW does in particular to try to make sure that they're out there on social media. So when you were first hired, it was actually part of the stuff that they wanted you to really understand, wasn't it?
Yeah, I never really understood as much as professors and even you would tell us how important social media is. I kind of thought, yeah, it's important, but, what's really important is the news. But really, social media is just as important as a newscast or any sort of broadcast. And from day one, some of the lists of things that they want the new people to do is talk to the social media director about proper social media usage and what you want. And for us specifically, Facebook is king. Twitter is important. They used to do Instagram, but I think they kind of let that by the wayside. But Facebook is king, and our requirements are 10 posts to Facebook a week, which sounds pretty easy, and it is, but you have to get into that rhythm of always posting on Facebook.
So about twice a day per workday.
Yeah, and really, if you think about it, for us, they tell us one tease of your story, and then your story, and that's your two for the day.
And if you think about it, if you, for those who are in the class, reading the study that I did just a couple of years ago, did a big survey of assignment tests all across the country, and also brought research from the Pew Institute, is that basically 70% of people, the information they get online is they're getting it from Facebook. That's what drives the traffic, and that's where the station makes the money. They don't make any money on Facebook. They make money when they click over to the website. So twice a day to get people to get there and engage. How about Twitter?
For Twitter, we don't have a requirement, but they do want us to use it to kind of tease the stories. And that's more of I help with sports on Fridays. So Fridays, they want us to give out, the first quarter score, the halftime score, or little things to keep little updates is what we use Twitter for. If I get sent out there was a armed robbery or something like that people need to know quickly, I'll go out there. First thing I do, snap a picture, post it on Twitter, and that way they can share it. The people who have more followers or even the official account can share my picture. They can add updates because they might get more updates through an email than I will just standing there until the police can come and talk to me.
Well, let's take just a quick look at we'll start with your Twitter feed, because that's where we say that breaking news really happens on Twitter. And as we look at your Twitter feed, let's see if I can do this correctly. This is WIBW Juan, and you guys usually you put that WIBW branding on it, to make sure that people know what you're doing. And you also use this personally, but this is part of giving everybody kind of the idea of who you are.
Yeah, and that's actually a really big thing they tell us as well. Yes, it's your professional account, but let people know who you are. There's things I'll share that I enjoy or that I thought were interesting.
Okay. So as going along through here, you see these things. So for instance, this one happened in December. Shots fired this morning in Lawrence, leading long negotiations with the suspect. Now in custody, investigation continues. You've added a picture here. Why?
To give kind of an idea of the scene, what it looks like, let people understand where we're looking at. Because it's different if you're, at a convenience store in a neighborhood. This is in Lawrence, so you can make a connection to KU to maybe, is it close to campus? Is it further from campus? Kind of give people an idea of what's going on and where I am.
And if we go even further down, you've got like you said, some Friday night basketball stuff rather. Man on the roof of a building with a gun on Skyline Parkway. Part of this is really getting them out, getting the news out to let people know what's going on. It's a safety issue too, right?
Yeah, for sure. And if I give a location, even better. And if I remember to say what streets I'm on, it might give people an idea to not head in that direction at that moment in time. And usually when I'm taking pictures of the police cars in that scene. I'm not exactly very close to where the actual action is happening because it's also a safety concern for the police officers.
Mhm.
I don't want to give away any location if it's a couple of these men with guns. You don't want to give away the position of a police officer.
Sure.
If for some reason the gunman looks at my page and sees what the police are.
So as we look at a timeline then of your social media, essentially you're tweeting as soon as you're finding out about something.
Yeah.
Just narrate how many times a day for Twitter?
Twitter, no, we don't have a how many times a day, but I tend to use Twitter a little more while I'm in the office, while I'm working on things.
Okay.
Just I use Twitter more for what we said earlier about, letting people know who I am, my interests and kind of things. And then when I have to go out and do things, I'll use Twitter because they also use the photos we take on Twitter for the actual stories that go on the website.
Right. So if you're talking about one with the man on the roof of the building with the gun in Skyline Parkway, once that becomes an actual story, you've got now you have a picture for it. If you're talking about this game between the Manhattan and Dodge City, you've got a picture for it. And if you're talking about shots fired in Lawrence, here's a photo.
Yeah.
So you take that as the breaking news happens, you get to there. Now you talk about Facebook a couple of times a day. So let's move over to your Facebook page. And on your Facebook page, we see it's a little bit of a different dynamic where as you've got more videos, you've got photos, you've got a few more photo types. And you're also sharing stories and sharing stories from your own station. For instance, here, even high school showcasing senior interns. Oh, hey, where did they intern? Hey, they interned with WIBW. But then you're sharing these, and you're also pushing people toward this information. And what is your philosophy then for WIBW with Facebook and what you actually do in your post itself?
So when I post, most of these are, once I've completed the story, I'll post the story. Or in this case with Kathleen Sebelius, I was there while she was speaking. And so I'll give it's more of a heads up at what I'm working on. So if it sparks someone's interest, they will, either watch the newscast or wait for me to post the entire story.
Okay.
There's a little aspect of kind of showing your personal side on Facebook as well, but I think it's more for the interaction side because, there's comments and likes and all that. That's where the personal side comes in. But my philosophy is just, get to my location, see what it's about, post a relevant picture of what is going on. And then that way, later on in the night, once I finish writing the story and putting it all together, I can post the full story on Facebook and then get people to click onto the website.
And being able to click through. So for instance, here we are. So sad to hear about this. I was there the first day to turn on the lights. This is somebody else's story, correct?
Yes.
But you're also cross-promoting. And that's a big thing here is between the station page, WIBW station page, and between the reporter pages, there's a ton of cross-promotion. And so to really be able to get the full idea as you follow your favorite reporters, but also make sure that station page is one that you're following as well.
Yeah, most definitely. Whenever I post a story, they remind me, make sure to share it on the WIBW page as well, but through my page. So, it's all about gaining that following. We have one reporter who's been there for a long time, and he obviously is a well-known face around the Topeka area now. So he has all these followers, and I've had him, shout me out, if you will, and say different things like that. Because that cross-promotion is very important because we are all one team. It's not about which reporter has the most. It's just making sure we can reach the broadest audience.
So let's talk a little bit about engagement because, for instance, here's a post from December. ACLU reports on a recent poll, 94% of Kansans are in favor of using diversion policy. What are your thoughts? So in this, you are inviting engagement. Why do you do that? What is the use for you guys?
For us, they tell us, and it kind of just common sense, and it makes sense that when you invite people to talk about something, they might. And if they do, I can respond, and it kind of allows us to get with the community that are actually speaking with us so they don't feel that, oh, they're just the news guys. They don't care about the community. It kind of, this is obviously like a bigger story about using diversion policy. So maybe there's a little discussion that can be had. But other things in the sense of when I'm doing like a live video, I always invite people to, people ask questions in the comments and I say, oh, this is where I'm at. And I give them all these things because that connection between the viewers and us is the most important thing, because then that's when they start following you and becoming fans of the station.
Have you seen much interaction where you've seen people interacting over and over, whether it's on your Twitter page or on Facebook, to where you're starting to get to know people?
Yeah, there's one lady, I think, that kind of comments and likes a lot of my posts. But most of it is just like, oh, good job, or oh, if it's about a certain event, like, oh, I went there last year. They kind of tell little things like that. So yeah, definitely see it, and I'm still starting, so I'm still getting a lot of the following. But yeah, a lot of times you do see the same people popping up again and again, and it kind of feels good. It's like, okay, you might reach someone, because it's one thing to have your parents commenting on everything, because obviously they're your parents, but a person that you haven't met yet, you might meet them out in the community. It's kind of nice to see that kind of gaining steam.
When you're in your story meetings and when you're talking with your news director, John Jane, the news director out there at WIBW, he also very cognizant of how are we going to tell this social media wise? And is that a focus, or is it just like, hey, listen, all my reporters are natives, let's just do what you're supposed to do?
Sometimes more than others. It really depends on the story for him. Obviously, for us, we're supposed to post with everything, but when he wants a focus on social media kind of following for a story, he'll let it be known. And if we ever have questions on how we want to address this in a social media sense, we talk to our social media director, Nick Viviani, who, he's a wizard with all social media. So he'll let you know what a good procedure to go about any story would be in social media.
Well, let's talk about the social media director just real briefly. We also in this class talked to Scott Hurley, who's the WLUK in Bay, their social media director. Why is that important? And that, because it's become a job that has suddenly every newsroom now has a social media director. Even you're in Topeka, and Topeka is not the biggest market in the United States, but still important to have somebody who is actually paying attention to what it is that your brand is online there for social media.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think that just comes with the time. We're living in a time where social media, we're on it all the time. And it helps to have someone to kind of set a sort of guideline, so we have a good motion. People know what they expect of us. People will know what they're going to get. He also, helps write stories. He controls the professional pages, the official pages of WIBW, and he'll share something. If I post something, or if another reporter is out somewhere, he'll make sure to share it to get it out. It's kind of a way to make sure everyone is getting involved in this social media world, because it is so important now. And that position is vital to make sure that social media following can continue.
Is he also involved in the actual website itself, I assume?
Yeah, he does all the kind of technical stuff.
Sure. So taking a look at, we take a look at, let's see if I can do this here. Let's share the screen. So here's your website. So he's also deciding, hey, what is going on, what is going to lead the website, what's going to be what they call above fold. In other words, whatever comes up before you actually have to scroll anywhere. And that's an important way, because stations now are really starting to rely a lot on their web revenue, and everything is kind of moved over into that, where still in television, TV ad revenues are king. They're probably still 95 to 96% of what a station makes in a year. But when you're talking 5 to 8% of these others, it's really starting to push forward now. And in the next few years, you're going to be talking a much bigger chunk of that. Get that. And that's one of the reasons Facebook is so important, because people rarely land on the homepage. In your text, you're reading your text, that the New York Times estimates that 70% of the people who go on their website never see their homepage. So having it first on the homepage, not that big a deal. What depends is, do they have the link? Are they? And that's the big deal.
Most definitely, because obviously I have the app on my phone, and when if I'm it's my day off, and I want to see if I get a notification of something and I want to see it, I don't go to the app. I open the notification, and it'll take me straight to the story.
Sure.
And all of that is equal to what you were saying of Facebook leads you to the story, not so much to the opening page, which is just as important, because if you do come to the opening page, they will decide should be the lead story. That biggest picture there, that's our lead story. You know, what's going to be the most important story? And yeah, they obviously on the day it looks like there's a lot of stuff going on. They have to make that decision. What's the biggest thing to?
Yeah, and they're doing that in real time as opposed to saying I'm going to stack a rundown and it's going to take 8 to 10 hours to put that rundown together. It's updating all the time, and you see that more and more of these websites now. So you see the trend. These are, for instance, the most popular stories that are going on right now. Everything from a suspect in the Aggieville shooting to trash pickup changes for the Christmas holiday, because that's what people want to know. Like, oh my gosh, when are they going to pick up my trash? I better find out. Or, well, this is really interesting. Well, let's find out who in the Aggieville shooting was located. And so now they've got one of these here, and you see all of these pop-ups and all these banners are all where the web revenue is coming from.
Yeah, that's the one thing we kind of all joke about, that our app has too many ads, but you know, that's how the money's made. You can't really do much about that. Any website's going to have ads.
And you'll see that, and you may have even seen that in some of the when you click on some of our interviews here for this class. That if you're going to YouTube, have you ever had to sit through a YouTube pre-roll?
Yeah.
Most likely, that's where that money comes from. And so, you know, and that's part of the way new media revenue. Facebook and Twitter have no return on investment specifically, but the return on investment comes if people get onto your website. And that's where the money comes. Okay, any advice for journalists or even non-journalists, people that are on the other side, the ones who are trying to get their stories out? Any advice for them now before they get into the workforce? What's a good way to prepare? What do you wish you had done?
I wish I would have posted more and kind of had more of a consistent flow of, if I am a journalist, if I knew I was going to go into this, I should have done more, maybe made my own page. I know a lot of my friends when I was graduating had their own already journalist pages. Kind of gain a following already and have a consistent flow of stories you do, or even your personal side of the journalistic world, to kind of make sure people know what kind of content you will be providing, and it just kind of gain that steam, because it's hard to, especially I'm not from the Topeka area, but I live there now, to just gain people's following and their trust. It's a little slower process. People that are, if you're lucky to be from Topeka, you might have a little following already. Also, just keep posting. You know, you can't break Facebook. That's something I had a coworker tell me. You know, you can't break it. You might as well just post. And even our I guess the sales director, you know, they're really involved in all of this as well. They tell us, you know, if you mess up, it's practice. You know, just keep posting. You know, no one expects us to be perfect all the time. If you look through my page, sometimes there's typos and people will call me out. But, you know, as long as you're just at least a react. At least, you know, they got to look at it, and it's more of a, you know, you'll have a complete page by the time you're in the workforce, which is.
I once had an issue on Twitter in my previous job a couple of years ago, where there was not necessarily a mistake, but there was some action back and forth, and it was nothing bad. But my news director said, you know what, why don't you do a lot of posting in the next hour? Move it down your feed a little. Just move it down your feed. It's not that it's bad or anything. Just don't need to delete stuff. Don't worry about that. Just move it down your feed a little bit, because that's, you know, that's kind of how it goes. Is what's now, what's happening now, what's going on now, and that's the way social media runs.
Yeah, social media runs really quickly. It's very fast. You know, yeah, you might mess up once, but 10 posts later, no one's going to look through and just pick out every little detail that you messed up on. So if you mess up, and you move forward.
All right, Juan Cisneros, WIBW, thanks for joining us.
Thank you guys.